She said it casually mid-task, as if it were just another item on her list. I think you'd be better off without me, Lisa murmured, her hands busy folding towels on the couch. No raised voice, no theatrics, just a flat, certain declaration. I stood in the kitchen, holding a bag of takeout, caught off guard. She didn't look at me, her focus fixed on the laundry, as if she'd rehearsed this moment in her head countless times. I set the bag down carefully. Is that what you want? I asked. Lisa's hands stilled for a moment, then resumed. I don't know what I want, but this isn't it. She grabbed the basket and brushed past me toward the stairs, her eyes avoiding mine, like we were strangers sharing a house, not a couple unraveling. I trailed her to the staircase. Can we at least talk about this, Lisa? She spun around, her tone sharp. There's nothing to say, David. I've felt this way for ages. I just didn't know how to tell you. I stayed rooted in place, staring at the wall, as her footsteps faded upstairs. There was no anger, just an emptiness. She'd already checked out emotionally. This was just her tying up loose ends. I was blindsided, clueless that we'd been drafting an ending. The clues were there, subtle but steady, like cracks spreading in glass. Lisa used to send me quick texts during her workday. Small things, like asking about my day or if I wanted her to grab coffee. Then abruptly they stopped. She blamed it on a heavy workload, new clients, late meetings. I bought it. Then she stopped staying up for me. I'd come home from long nights at the law office to a silent house. No lights on, no dinner saved, just her already in bed, facing the wall. One evening, I tried addressing it over dinner. Lisa, is something wrong? She kept cutting her chicken unfazed. Nothing's wrong, David. I'm just exhausted. You've been exhausted for months, I said. She met my eyes, her gaze cool. And you've been absent for months. Maybe we're both worn out. I let it go, took the jab, and moved on. In the weeks that followed, I doubled down. I made dinners, handled her errands, even planned a getaway to a coastal inn. She said she was swamped with work and spent that weekend out with friends I'd never heard of, colleagues she claimed, but I never saw proof. She'd return home smelling of unfamiliar cologne, her smiles vanishing the moment she crossed the threshold. The gap between us wasn't a pause. It was a rewrite, her quietly reshaping our marriage without a word. One night, I leaned in to kiss her goodnight, and she turned away. No reason, just a slight pivot of her head. I sat in the den afterward, wide awake, staring at the ceiling. She was already letting go, and I was the last to know. A week after the towel-folding bombshell, I found the first real evidence. Lisa said she had a client dinner, some exec from Chicago. She left an address I hadn't seen in years and shoes that looked brand new, her wedding ring conspicuously absent. At 11:03 p.m., her tablet, left on the counter, lit up with a message. She was still logged in. I wasn't snooping, it was just there. The name was unfamiliar, Ryan. The message read, "Tonight was great. You always make it hard to say goodbye." No emojis, just a comfortable intimacy. I opened the thread. Scattered messages, some playful, some referencing plans I wasn't part of. Nothing explicit, but it didn't need to be. When she got home at 12:30 a.m., I was at the table. She froze, not guilty, just surprised. "You're up," she said. "Yeah," I replied, holding her gaze. "How was dinner?" "Fine. Long," she said, pouring water. "Who's Ryan?" Her posture stiffened briefly, then she turned, composed. "A colleague from the Chicago branch." "Seemed like more," I said. "I don't know what you're suggesting, David." I stood steady. "I'm not suggesting. I saw the messages." Silence. She set the glass down, arms crossed. "It wasn't physical, if that's what you're thinking." "That's not what hurts," I said. "You wanted to be noticed, wanted, just not by me." She didn't argue or apologize. Instead, she said, "You don't get to act righteous. You checked out first." That was it. She didn't regret the messages. She regretted getting caught. I knew then she saw nothing to salvage. I stopped pushing after that. No more questions about Ryan, no demands for apologies. I just withdrew quietly. I quit grabbing her favorite snacks on my way home, stopped washing her clothes with mine, stopped acting like we were still partners. I let things pile up. Unwashed dishes, unopened bills, silence in the car. At first, she didn't seem to care. Or maybe she thought it was just a phase. But by the 6th day she noticed. "Did you forget to pay the internet bill?" she asked. "No," I said, not looking up from my book. "I paid mine." A week later, she texted from work. "Did you take my suits to the cleaner?" I didn't respond. When I got home, she was in the living room, arms folded. "What, you're ghosting me now?" "No," I said, brushing past. "Just letting you manage your share." That hit her harder than any argument would have. The next day she dressed up for a meeting. New earrings, bold lipstick, not for me. That evening, her phone pinged twice while she was getting ready. Ryan's name flashed both times. I said nothing. Instead, I turned off the front light after she left and locked the door. When she knocked at 1 a.m., I opened it slowly. She glared, waiting for me to speak. "Lose your keys?" I asked. Her eyes narrowed. "You're being a real ass lately." I shrugged. "Took notes from a pro." She stormed past, but I could sense it. Her confidence was slipping. She'd thought I'd stay passive while she drifted. Now she wasn't so sure. I planned my exit meticulously. New bank account. A lease signed for a small apartment, movers on call. I kept it all under wraps, no outbursts, no hints. Then I made a strategic move Lisa didn't expect. Her sister, Claire, and I weren't tight, but we'd always gotten along. At a family party years ago, Claire had said, "Lisa chases sparks, but she picks the slow burn." It didn't click then, but it did now. I called Claire. She answered on the first ring. "David, what's up?" "I need a favor, discreet," I said. She agreed without hesitation. We met at a cafe 2 days later. I showed her the evidence, screenshots of Lisa's texts with Ryan, calendar entries that didn't add up. Claire sighed. "She actually went there, didn't she?" "She says it wasn't physical," I said. Claire shook her head. "With Lisa, it's never physical at first." I leaned in. "I'm not asking you to take sides. Just shake her up. Mention Ryan lightly. Enough to make her wonder how his name got out." Claire grinned. "You want her rattled. She's been too cozy, thinking no one's paying attention." I nodded. "Time she feels the heat." Within 2 days, Lisa shifted. She came home earlier, offered to order dinner, sat closer on the couch. Her laughter felt forced, too loud for my dry humor. I stayed distant, observing. 3 nights later, she asked, "Are we okay, David?" I looked at her. "You tell me." She didn't answer, but her gaze lingered uneasy. For the first time, she seemed to realize she was losing something, and I wasn't fighting to hold on. She overcompensated after that, cooking real dinners, buying my favorite wine, suggesting a weekend trip to reconnect. I said I had work. "Since when do you work weekends?" she asked, frowning. "Since I stopped trying to save what you already abandoned," I replied, eyes on my phone. She didn't push, but I saw the fear flicker in her expression. The next Monday, I finalized my preparations, moved my files off our shared laptop, canceled joint subscriptions, cut off the backup card. The joint account was emptied, utilities switched to my name. The life we'd built was already dismantled. She just hadn't noticed. On Friday, she lingered in the kitchen while I poured coffee. "Did you change the Hulu password?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. She waited for more. I didn't offer it. "You said you needed space," I added. "I didn't mean it like that," she said, her voice tight. "I know what you meant, Lisa. You just didn't think I'd take you seriously." That night, her phone stayed face up on the counter, untouched, even when it rang once. I didn't ask who called. I already knew. The next morning, she wore one of my old hoodies, stayed in bed late, waiting for me to speak. I didn't. At the door, she called out, "Are you really giving up on us?" I turned calm. "I gave up the night you decided someone else made you feel alive." I left and she didn't follow. I moved out on a Tuesday while she was at work. I took my things, clothes, laptop, a few books, loaded them into my car, and drove to the new place, a sparse rental I'd secured for 6 months. It was basic, quiet mine. Back at the house, I left a note on the counter. "Lisa, you were right. We're better apart. Utilities are paid through the end of the month. Everything else is split. The lease is in my name now. No arguments, no silence, just done. My keys are in the drawer. David." I didn't wait for her reaction. I powered off my phone for the day. When I turned it on that night, There were 4 missed calls, then 6, then a text. Where are you? I didn't respond. She didn't call again. On Sunday, Claire messaged me. She showed up at my place a mess, sobbing. I replied, thanks. Nothing more. A week later, Lisa texted. I know I screwed up. Can we talk? We can fix this. Once I'd have jumped at that. Now it felt like a reflex, her grasping at something already gone. She hadn't seen me slipping away. Now that I was out the door, she finally heard the quiet. I agreed to meet her the following week at a cafe on 9th Avenue. She was there when I arrived, clutching a coffee, wearing the scarf I'd given her 2 Christmases ago. Her eyes were puffy. Thanks for coming, she said. I nodded, still standing. She looked up. You didn't even say goodbye. I did, I said. You just didn't hear it until I was gone. Her voice trembled. I don't know how to fix this. I'm sorry. I thought I needed something else, some clarity. I just ended up losing everything. Clarity's a slow burn for some, I said, sitting. Silence settled, heavy but not hostile. I cut things off with Ryan, she said softly. I assumed, I replied. He didn't matter. He mattered enough for you to gamble us. Her composure cracked. I didn't mean to lose you. You didn't lose me, Lisa. You let me go. That's different. She pulled an envelope from her bag. I wrote this last night. It's everything, how I got here. If you ever want to read it. I left it on the table and pulled out my own envelope. Her breath caught. Divorce, she whispered. I nodded. She stared at it, frozen, like she could undo it by not touching it. Her voice was faint. Is there any way we fix this? I stood. There could have been, but I was fighting alone. Now I'm fighting for me. Her eyes filled, but she didn't speak. Take care, Lisa, I said, steady. You'll need to. I walked out, the door swinging shut behind me. She'd started it with a line. You'd be better off without me. Now at last I was.